Hudson County View Live and Uncut. I'm your host, the guy that tells you 2 and 2 makes 3, your favorite cult of personality, John Heinis, and of course the latest and greatest on Hudson County News. So just this morning, it's been a busy day already. I was over at Memorial High School in West New York, where we saw our U.S. Senators Bob Menendez and Cory Booker. They were leading a rally talking about gun safety reform, joined by Moms Demand Action, of course the mayor, West New York Mayor Gabriel Rodriguez, New Jersey Education Association President Sean Spiller, he's also the Montclair mayor, among many others. So we're going to talk about what they're proposing that they'd like to see happen in Congress. So that's one item, and of course we're going to talk a little Jersey City. As many of you know, the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled on the payroll tax, kind of an anticlimactic decision in my estimation, but I'll tell you what that means. We're also going to talk a little bit about the New Jersey Attorney General's office investigating this shooting. I believe that was just about 8 days ago in the west side of Jersey City. They've identified the officer and the man who was killed. So we're going to tell you about that, even though some details still remain up in the air. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Hoboken Council meeting from last night. While we haven't gotten into the comprehensive coverage, one item that I thought was interesting is a pilot program that would have the parking enforcement officers wear body cameras. This is a 60-day program, was approved. So we're going to tell you what that looks like. And also today in the studio is the Ward D councilman in Jersey City. He's actually my councilman. That's Yousef Saleh. So we're going to talk about a whole host of Heights issues, all that and a whole lot more right after we come back from this break.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design studio and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View Live and Uncut, John Heinis. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago, today I'm joined in the studio with Jersey City Ward D Councilman Yousef Saleh. Councilman, thanks for coming in.
How you doing?
Very good. Always a pleasure to have you. So, you know, let's just talk a little bit about this school funding component. Obviously, I mentioned at the top of the program about the payroll tax, and you know they affirmed the appellate decision, not particularly exciting as I mentioned, but you know when we're talking about this, the big issue here is that it's really hard to collect on what the actual legislation intended to do. So, I mean, is there anything in the pipeline to improve that?
I think that to approve.
Improve.
Improve.
Yeah.
I think there have been discussions throughout City Hall, you know, at least on my end, to try and improve it. You need a compliance department in order to make sure that businesses are in fact paying the payroll tax. Currently, the way everything is, really the employers are the ones that are reporting and essentially giving the tax to the city, and the tax is being held by the city. They're the custodian. And it really needs to improve because we're not capturing all the businesses or even a fraction of them. So we need to have more compliance folks, hire them in order to essentially notify the businesses that there's a payroll tax and let them know that they have to be in compliance of it.
Now, around a year ago, I spoke with Mayor Fulop on this, and he told me he was working with Assemblyman McCurgy and other Jersey City reps to try to get something in the legislature to help collect. I know they haven't introduced anything yet, but is that moving along as far as you know?
I haven't heard anything on that end, but I think they would have to go to the Treasury Department or the Secretary of State for New Jersey in order to get, you know, some vital information that they would need to collect from these businesses. I haven't heard anything though.
All right, no problem. So let's move on to some height-specific issues. So let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure going on. And what I mean by that is obviously we've seen the past couple of weeks they're working on those bike lanes, and we've also seen, you know, there was a water main break. We've also seen the repaving. There was some repaving not too long ago. So just, you know, comprehensively, when you're looking at all this, like, what do you think the implications of this are?
I think that we are focusing on quality of life in the Heights, and pedestrian safety and cyclist safety, and trying to improve people's lives through these infrastructure improvements, whether they be parks. If you look at Riverview Park, how we transform that area, and we're going to continue to invest more money there. We're investing a lot of money into Leonard Gordon Park, and we're also doing a lot of renovations at the reservoir. So you're looking at, we want people to have a sacred space to go and to be with nature, or as close to nature as one could get in a city. Then when you look at the roads that we've repaved about 6.3 miles of road in the Heights alone in the last 2 years, and we're going to continue to repave a lot of roads. We haven't slated which streets are going to be repaved for this year yet, but if any residents out there have any ideas, be sure to let me know if your street needs to be repaved. I have a few ideas myself just driving around. We put those bike markers on Central Avenue to notify the drivers that they have to share the road with the cyclists. So a lot of times the cyclists are trying to bike, and they get yelled at, and there's a lot of issues with that. And
Yeah, there's some of them are calling for curb bump outs. You think that's something that might be on the way?
I think that in certain intersections where there's more accidents, like let's say Summit Avenue, I think curb bump outs would be a good idea. Some intersections at Central Avenue, like Central Avenue near the Walgreens, also Palisade Avenue. If you look at, I believe Palisade Avenue, Griffith Street, it's by the laundromat. There's
Yeah, of course, I know it well.
Exactly. It's like there's a light, and then there's a crosswalk immediately right after the light, and basically the drivers want to continue driving as soon as the light hits green, even if there's a pedestrian there. So there's a few. I think that's an idea worth exploring, and would I have wanted more on Central Avenue? Of course, but the way the project was and the timeline, I'd rather we have a streetscape renovation to address a lot of the long-standing issues, like the uneven sidewalk and pedestrian safety, and the markings in the street, and the lighting to making it safer.
Is there any update on the parking deck?
The parking deck, I've had a few meetings regarding that, and essentially we're trying to make the finances work. If it's going to work, it's going to cost almost $100 million. But it could cost anywhere between 70 and 100 million. And we want affordable housing there. We want to have a green space there for people to be able to eat or dine or just relax or tan, whatever you want to do. And we want 400 spots. But the reality of it is, making a parking deck is very expensive, and I've learned a lot about, mechanical parking decks and the different configurations. But in a perfect world, I wish we could have all those things, but we might have to reduce the number of parking spots in there to make sure that it gets subsidized properly. I'm looking into bonding possibly for this parking deck if this doesn't work out, if we can't get a developer to do it. But we're currently working on it. There was only one bid for the site to be developed, so we're working with that developer right now.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and still here with Jersey City Board D. Councilman Yousef Saleh. So just closing up on the parking deck, so do you think there's a realistic possibility this could not happen or may not happen?
I think it's a possibility. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. The parking deck is individually by itself going to cost between $9 to $15 million. If you want to do it right, it's probably going to cost around the higher end. And in order, like, I think the fatal flaw of Jersey City is that we don't have a lot of municipal parking decks. So I think this is much needed in Jersey City, especially the Heights. And we're trying to keep the costs for the residents as low as possible, but ultimately something has to give, right? Like, if we want to peg the rates at the rate that you permit park for the city, like 15 or 20, 25 bucks, then we're gonna have to find a way, whether it's through the developer, whether it's through bonding, whether it's through a combination of both. Like, but I am intent on continuing this vision and to making sure that parking deck comes to fruition, but it's still a few years out.
All right. So on that point, you said we're technically in budget season, right? I mean, obviously we're still working on where we're going to end up, but during the earlier part of the year, like when we were hearing the Department of Public Safety, for example, I know you were asking a lot of thoughtful questions about the police department and especially the parking authority. So that was probably, 3 months ago now?
I think it was February, yeah.
So has any of those changes you were hoping for been implemented or in the process of being implemented?
Some of the changes have been implemented. Like, I have seen more enforcement of the permit parking, which is a good sign. And we're trying to make sure that the parking spaces available in the overnights are for the residents and not for out-of-state people. Some things are still in the pipeline, like Lot 4, right next to the parking authority. We passed a resolution. We're going to put the ordinance to open it up for the parking. When you do the metered parking in the daytime,
Yeah.
and then we want permit parking in the evenings, because a lot of the postal trucks, they park on the street and they take away a lot of spots from the residents. So we're still working to open that up. Have a machine that automatically reads the license plates. I know they were working on it, but evidently it didn't communicate well with their current system. So I would rather, instead of you going to get the sticker, you wouldn't need a sticker. You just register your license plate, you give them the proper documents, and boom, it's in a computer system. And you wouldn't have to waste your time to get that sticker. And that would also reduce overhead if we were able to bring technological efficiencies to the parking enforcement.
Okay. So, and I also remember from that hearing, you were, I believe, indicating that the administration's a little top-heavy there, and it might be time for, some fresh faces. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
I think that new ideas and fresh perspectives are always a good thing. And if ever came the time where I wasn't keeping up with the residents or what was happening in the neighborhood, I think that I would make a graceful exit as well from the public sphere. I do think that the current leadership has a lot of skill sets, but I think that it's time for new faces there, new blood. They do suffer from a lack of staffing. There's a lot of issues happening internally. Some of it not the leadership's fault, but I think that that having new leadership can shake things up and make them better and more efficient.
In favor of a new director, if it was up to you?
I think if it was up to me, I would change a lot, not just the parking enforcement. There'd be a lot of different changes throughout the city, but I think I defer to the administration on this, but I've made my feelings very well known about the direction of parking enforcement and how we need to modernize, parking enforcement in Jersey City.
All right, fair. So tell me, any resolution or ordinance that's maybe in the pipeline that you're working on that maybe hasn't gotten any media attention you'd like to throw out there?
Okay. Well, I did get some media attention on the pay transparency. Essentially, business owners with 5 or more employees, anytime you put a job posting within Jersey City, whether it's online, whether it's a flyer or in the mail or newspaper, whatever, anywhere, you have to post the salary range and the benefits. We're working on fine-tuning that, so we added some more language to bring in a lot of the recruiting agencies, because a lot of the bigger companies were trying to skate by having a recruiting agency do it, so like through a third party. and so they wouldn't have to disclose the salary range. I think that it basically equalizes the market. You know, when you have that, a lot of employers will be able to see, hey, what's the market rate for this service or this labor or this, and essentially you'll be able to peg your salaries pretty competitively.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I saw that one. Anything else real quick? Any closing thoughts?
Commercial vacancy tax, I'm looking, you know, now that we're out of COVID, you know, for the most part, you know, it still lingers, but I would like to have a commercial vacancy tax for any storefronts that are vacant for 6 or more months. Working on that cannabis legislation as to where the money is going to go from the taxes that we reap. I'd like at least 50% to go to the schools, and then for other projects throughout the city. And I think that's, we want to create more parking areas like on vacant land in the Heights. So you'll be seeing me focus a lot on parking and pedestrian safety and cyclist safety in this year. There's a few vacant spots on the Western Slope area. We're doing a study on Summit Avenue to see if it could go one way and have a bike lane, because that Summit Avenue is very tight as it is.
Sure.
It really there's so many car accidents there. It's not safe for cars, it's not safe for bicyclists, it's not safe for pedestrians. So
Certainly work to do, yeah.
Absolutely.
Councilman, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. I'll see you around the block. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. But we're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. And people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union.
I make this look good, don't I?
Who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with. And friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And works too. The all-new Ford Maverick, built to defy expectations.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. Shout out Heinis. So let's talk about an important matter here. We're talking about this fatal shooting that was on the west side of Jersey City. And as you all know, typically the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office takes over these investigations. But in this case, we have the New Jersey Attorney General's Office involved. Now, last Wednesday, 8 days ago, they declined to release the name of the officer involved. They also declined to release the decedent. Of course, that means the person who was killed in the incident. So that was on Wednesday. As of Friday, there was no update. And after the holiday weekend on Tuesday, we finally did get an update, and that information was released. There's a little more to that story, but let's get to the important part here first. On May 24th, Jersey City Police responded to the intersection of Communipaw and West Side Avenues. That was at about 11:56 p.m. in response to a 911 call of a domestic dispute involving a man with a gun. So, the new information: during the encounter, police officer Omar Polanco discharged a service weapon, fatally wounding Joseph Robertson, 59 years old, of Jersey City. So he got first aid rendered on the scene, and he was pronounced dead at 12:19 a.m., and a firearm was recovered near his body at the scene. So one thing that perhaps gives us some indication of what happened, perhaps not. I mean, still, you know, a lot of things to work out, and I'm still awaiting that body camera footage. But Polanco's not listed in the state's use of force database and has been an officer for about 3.5 years, according to public records. And Robertson described himself on his Facebook page as a very outgoing person who loved to see a smile on people's faces, always thinking ahead. And a GoFundMe has been started by his family, and they're seeking a $15,000 goal to cover the costs. The thing about this that I just wanted to also point out is that on Wednesday, when the AG's office said they weren't going to release the names, I put in an Open Public Records Act request with their office, seeking the names as well as the police body and dash camera footage. Now, typically, agencies have 7 business days to reply, which is obviously no different here, though the one caveat is I did cite a state statute that would actually supposed to give you the names of those involved within 24 hours. That didn't happen. Instead, we waited till after the holiday weekend. And, we're not sure what's going on with the police and dash camera just yet. I don't have a formal reply from them. But when we do get something, I will certainly be quick to let you know. Now, the other thing that I mentioned at the top of the program, or one of the other things that is, this Hoboken City Council approved a pilot program where parking enforcement would wear body cameras. So the resolution says these body cameras have been proven to be a valuable tool for law enforcement agencies, including the Hoboken Police Department, by documenting hostile interactions experienced by officers, de-escalating conflicts, creating accountability for officers, and all equipment and training will be provided by Axon at no cost to the city for a period of 60 days. Axon Enterprise Inc. is based out of Arizona, and they have a 5-year, $739,370 20-cent contract for the city of Hoboken. That's for the Hoboken Police Department that was approved by the City Council, and that was in March 2021. So that's an interesting item. We're going to talk more about that long meeting last night later on today. Unfortunately, not in time for the conclusion of this program, but we'll have a lot on that next week. It'll be up on the website relatively soon. Another one, we actually got a pretty interesting lawsuit out of Secaucus. I mean, obviously, we don't get a ton of juicy news stories out of there, but this is certainly a pretty salacious one, I think you could call it. This is a Secaucus middle school math teacher that was a New Jersey Milken National Educator Award recipient in 2017, is now suing the Board of Education and the former superintendent for discrimination and retaliation. So obviously that already sounds like a pretty strong worded lawsuit. This was filed on Friday at Hudson County Superior Court. Short and sweet, it's a 10-page, 4-count lawsuit. And it essentially says this, that Tony Ann Palmisano on January 8th, 2021, held a meeting with the superintendent at the time, that was Jennifer Montesano, and her union reps to discuss plaintiff's request to take a leave. The long story short, without getting into the nitty-gritty details, she wanted 6 weeks off, and she took the time and was not able to return until the district approved that. And by the time they approved that, they were well beyond 6 weeks. It was actually already May, obviously the tail end of the school year, May 24th, and then she also was one of the teachers that was working the prom. She wasn't allowed to leave to set up or clean up, she alleges of the lawsuit. And as a result, the BOE, Montesano, and John and Jane Does 1 through 10 are accused of violating the New Jersey law against discrimination and also claiming she was retaliated against for requesting protected leave under the FMLA. The Secaucus BOE had no comment, at least didn't respond to inquiries seeking comment. What's interesting, I mentioned that Milken Award back in 2017. Montesano praised Palmisano for her work. She said, Ms. Palmisano is also a mentor to new teachers and has been credited for amending the current curriculum for the mathematics department. It's an honor to be part of sharing such an award with a true educational leader, she said at the time. We're going to take one more quick break. We'll be right back.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and one more for today. And, unfortunately, it's not a topic that is a particularly fun one. We're still talking about gun control. And, just in wake of at least two more shooting incidents that resulted in fatalities last night. One was in Tulsa, and one was, I believe that was Pittsburgh. Just really sad stuff. But, on a slightly uplifting note, given consideration of what's happening, there was a lot of engagement from West New York high school students, that's Memorial High School, at this rally that was again hosted by U.S. Senators Cory Booker and Bob Menendez and several other elected leaders throughout the county and even throughout the state joined in. And again, they're calling for common sense gun reforms. And what are they requesting? They're requesting comprehensive background checks, and they're requesting that automatic weapons are no longer sold to the general public, and they're calling on the Republican colleagues to join them. So we're going to end on this clip, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week.
It is our duty to ensure that our youth have safe places to learn, play, and grow. Now, schools across this great nation have always been that place, until now. We must do better now.
Outside of Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, there is a sign. It says, welcome. And then underneath it, it says, bienvenido. As I have thought about what to say today, this image has haunted me in my brain. That bilingual sign, alongside the images of little kids holding honor roll certificates, honor roll certificates they earned at the end of the school years, for me, the starkest reminder of what this means for a tight-knit Latino community like Uvalde.
Will we all together, collectively, these young people leading us today, say, I am up for the struggle. I will fight to defend my nation. I will stand for domestic tranquility. I will stand for justice. I will stand for freedom from fear and gun violence and murder. We can achieve that in America. This is our country. Let us change its destiny now and commit ourselves to doing what is necessary.
I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of seeing dead children and teachers die because we have cowards in the Senate that refuse to stand up to the NRA. Cowards that have the audacity of 21 innocent lives, but yet won't let guns inside their own convention.